This is the Mickey Miles and More podcast, your one stop for information on Disney races, Disney vacations, Disney theme parks, and more. Now, here are your hosts for the Mickey Miles and More podcast, Michelle Scribner-McLean, Chris Eliopoulos, and Mike Scopa.
Welcome, Milers, to another episode of Mickey Miles and More. It's our place to discuss all things Disney. I'm your host, Chris Eliopoulos, and with me is my good friend, Dr. Michelle Scribner-McLean. Michelle, we're going to find out what movie, I guess, is your background, but people have to
Where am I?
Since this is going to be
Where
broadcast.
am I? At last I see the light.
So do you want to tell everybody what your background was on the last episode?
It was. I was in the Ratatouille kitchen. I can't wait for that attraction and someday going back to Walt Disney World when it opens. But when I was there last, going on the Skyliner, could see the back of it and all the workers, and it looked like it was close to being done. But I'm not there today. Where am I?
Yeah, we'll have to figure out down below. Put your guesses to what attraction or movie that is from. Any shout outs before we say hi to Michael?
Thank you, Greg Maxwell, for subscribing.
Oh, thanks,
That
Greg.
is our shout out today.
Awesome.
And there is some thunder. The gods are not happy here in southern New Hampshire. So you may hear some thunder.
Are you in the tiki room?
I wish.
And also with us is Michael Scopa. Mike, how goes it?
Hi, Chris. How are you? Are you ready for the quote of the show?
I want to hear. I got the last one, so I'm on a roll. Let's see if I can make it 2 for 2.
Yes. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to alternate fairly easy, fairly difficult.
Ouch.
So here we go with a fairly difficult one.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever used this one ever in any podcast. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I am not your mother. Break those plates.
I am not your mother. Break those plates. Is it a
Current
attraction? I'm not your mother. Break those plates.
I'll tell you, if you go through this attraction, it'd be tough to. The next time I go through this attraction, I'm trying to figure out exactly where.
Can you tell us the park?
If I told you the park, you'll probably get it. It's Disney Hollywood Studios.
Not Tower of Terror, is it?
If I told you which Disney character says it, you'll guess it.
Oh.
Oh, is it Toy Story Mania?
It's Woody, Toy Story Mania, yes. Telling the guests.
You're shooting the plates.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep.
That is a very good one.
I like that one.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well done.
I
All right, so
don't think that I've ever heard that in that ride, but I just sort of
I forgot about that
Well,
one.
now
the plate.
go back. Now another reason to go back.
Yeah, well, you know where it is.
Like we need a reason.
Yeah.
One
more reason. So before we get into the full-on episode, and Mike's got a wonderful little bracket to do for us today, I figured I'd just talk real quick about, so this past week I had the honor of doing a lunch and learn for the Disney Archives. So in these times when everybody's stuck at home, they're looking for things to keep everybody upbeat and moving. And since
so this is like professional development for the people who work there?
It was an optional choice to come at lunchtime. It wasn't really learning as much as maybe just something new and to hear about my experiences and what I do. And because I did the I Am Walt Disney book, when we did the book, we actually went through them with the script and with the art to make sure that it was right. So they're fully aware of us and they knew about us. And so they had reached out and asked if I would come on and talk to them. And so I spent an hour talking about my life as a cartoonist and the work I've done and the Disney book. And And then we drew Walt Disney together. So
Oh, that's cool.
we
How
got-
did you do that at like, do you have the same setup as you have now?
so I have this is a sit-stand desk. Maybe we should do this at some point. We could do it.
Yeah, maybe we can do it together. I would love it.
So the desk goes up, and I have an easel and paper.
Okay.
And I took a marker and I walked them through drawing Walt Disney. So maybe we'll do that at some point. Maybe we'll do a draw through and we'll see what.
I think that would be awesome. I have done your Abraham Lincoln one with all the sound effects.
Okay.
At your school demonstrations in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
They were very fun.
You actually come to the real school demonstration where I've like sat in front of 500 kids trying to teach them how to draw.
Yes. And met your friend Jeff, who you didn't tell me was Diary of a Wimpy Kid Jeff until I kind of figured it out.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So, like, who do you know anything about the people who are attending? Is it the curators? Is it?
Yeah, so it was pretty much everyone. I was surprised at how many of them showed up because I figured who wants to, like, it's lunch hour, like, but I think at this point anything different is good.
Yeah.
So they wanted.
How many?
There had to be. I think there's 30 people total in the archives division, and I think pretty close to that number showed up.
Wow.
But it was great. Like, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so we talked about prop culture. Would these be the people who would work in those warehouses that are curating
so they have like
really cool things?
Yeah, from what I understand, they have like 3 divisions. One is sort of like the curators and stuff like that. The other is like literature and online stuff, and then there's like a third. So there's different sections of the Disney archives. But yeah, it was interesting. So like I got to talk to a little bit with, of all things, her name is Becky, is the woman who runs the whole archives, and you may have seen her on Prop Culture.
Yeah.
And she was a delight. They were all a delight, and they asked questions. We did drawings together. They held up all their drawings. I wanted to take a picture, but I felt it was proprietary, so I didn't want to, sort of just do that. But it was fun. Like, it was just me being me, talking about Disney, which was great. Like, and it's sort of like you're talking to the people that you want to hear from.
Yeah.
But it was really great, and they were really generous with their time and their energy. And they've even offered, when this is all over and we're able to travel, the next time I'm out in LA, they want to take me out and take me through the archives.
Wow.
And
oh my gosh,
offices. So
my gosh.
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't think I can do that. So
I'm busy.
So, that'll be a very special episode of Mickey Miles and More.
Yeah, when you invite your 2 dear friends to come with you.
Well, I got to tell you, like, the list is already growing. Like, my wife is like, well, I'm going. I'm like, well, yeah, of course you're going. And then Becky was like, coming. And then my agent was like, I'll be there too. So it's like, they're going to invite me. We're going to have like a troop of 30 people walking through.
Of a busload.
Yeah. We're going to drop off.
I'm his tutor.
Yeah. So, but it was a joy. It was great. I don't have it with me, but I did while I was doing these watercolors, I did a watercolor of Walt Disney for them. They actually asked me to have one to put into the archives. So
awesome!
Oh my gosh, that's so cool!
Yeah, it was an honor. They said they have the book in the archives already, but they wanted to have the original artwork in the archives as well. So it's like,
what an honor!
Yeah, I was just kind of blown away by the whole
awesome
situation. So it was a lot of fun. So I wish I could have broadcasted or recorded it, but it was a private event. So, but just to let you guys know, these people are as enthusiastic as you wish they would be, and as nice as you hope they were. So
that's nice to hear.
Yeah, and they do care. They love Disney. They love the history. They love the man.
The legacy. Yeah.
Yeah, they love everything about it. So it's really nice to know that it's in good hands and that there are people who really care about it. So it was good.
I'll tell you, museum people are the best. They
Well,
really are.
if you think about, and we've watched prop culture, they just, when they look at props, when they look at anything, there's a reverence there. There's just there's awe in their eyes, and they are caretakers, and you want caretakers to have that approach to history, to something that's got a legacy, like the Disney films and attractions have. So that's nice to hear.
They I've luckily enough had dealings with the National Archives, and they truly care about everything in their possession. And I feel this like an interesting kinship and a connection. They're very similar in the Disney archives. And it was actually funny, there was one person there who used to work at the Schultz Museum, the Peanuts Museum, as the archivist, and has moved over to Disney. And so, it's in their blood. Like they just love this ability to catalog and preserve history. So it was a great day. It was
really
definitely
cool.
When I was done with that one, I was just kind of like floating out of my office.
And you deserve it. Yeah.
So that's that. So that was our, the inside baseball. But so Mike, so for a change of pace, because we're trying to keep things a little upbeat, you told me today that you have a little bracket game for us. Two.
Yeah. So it's always fun to do these bracket things. And I know that the listeners, the watchers, the audience, they love it too. They play along with us. So I put together 2 brackets, which I have never done before. And I thought I'd present the 2 of them to you and Michelle, and I'll have you guys decide which one the 3 of us will go through to determine whatever. Okay. So the first bracket, I went and I took what I thought would be a good representation of Disney films. And I said, let's use a random generator and match them up and try to come up with which film we think deserves the most consideration for a sequel.
Oh.
Okay. So that's one bracket. So we got films against films.
Attraction.
No attraction.
Which one would be best for
For
attraction?
a sequel. Okay.
Okay.
Now that's one. The other one we could do is I listed what I think are the top 16 meanest, baddest Disney villains of all time. And that bracket would be to determine which villain is the baddest, meanest villain of all time. So whichever one you guys want to do.
Moving on.
Yeah, whatever. And there's one very interesting villain that I put in there. And if we play that one, you'll find out. And we don't have to do it this. We can do another show.
We can do both at some point.
So what's your pleasure?
Michelle, I defer to you.
I was going to say the same to you. I think I'll go with film for 2000, please.
Thanks, Alex.
The film one.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready? Now,
and I would love to do the villain one too.
We'll do the villain one another time.
Okay.
Now
I just want to say before you start, if you spend any time with Mike Scopa, everything he does is brackets. Like, doesn't matter what it is, it becomes a bracket type of thing. So
now,
he loves doing his brackets.
I will tell you that some of these films have already had a sequel, but the question would be, does this film deserve another sequel? But not all of them. Okay, some of them have never had a sequel. So are you ready for the first matchup?
So how's this going to go? Majority rules?
Majority rules, the 3 of us.
Okay.
They won't be a tie. So the first film is Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. And that goes up against the live action Pirates of the Caribbean. Which of the 2 is more deserving of another sequel or a first sequel? Snow White or Pirates?
All right, Michelle, you want to go first?
I love Pirates. I can't get enough of Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, but I would say Snow White would be kind of interesting. That's what I would vote for.
Well, for Snow White, Chris?
Interesting. It's funny because I was like, I there could be a billion Pirates movies. I would love a Snow White sequel where she's not the damsel in distress and needs a man. Like it flips the tables for a sequel, and she
She's
becomes,
saving the seven dwarves or something.
yeah, like she should be the
Yeah.
strong. So I would like to see that sort of turnaround. That would be a fun one to. What about you,
Okay.
Michael?
I would have voted for Pirates because I just think you can never get enough of Pirates.
I agree, but I
but
think
Snow
That
White
surprises me. Wow.
Snow White moves on.
okay.
All right, here's one that could be very interesting. We all know that these two movies have both had sequels. One is Frozen, and the other is Toy Story.
Oh wow.
Which of the two deserves another sequel?
Should I go first this time?
Sure.
Save you the trouble, Michelle. Here's the funny part. I have not seen the latest sequel to either of those movies. So I haven't seen the second Frozen movie, and I haven't seen the last Toy Story movie. I haven't found myself looking to go out of my way to see it. I know Toy Story, everybody keeps saying it's, it's the one to see, so I don't even know what happens in it. I don't know, like, they could have thrown all the toys into an incinerator. I don't know the ending.
Wow.
But I will say, I love the characters from Toy Story, and there are so many opportunities. So I think I'll go Toy Story. Mike, Michelle, who wants to go next?
Maybe I should go.
Sorry. All right.
I'm going to say Toy Story 2 because I think Toy Story has an ensemble, and you could always focus on one or like in the last Toy Story. And I won't do a spoiler, Chris, but there's one particular toy that was very prominent in the last Toy Story sequel, and I think that just shows that you could do another sequel. So I'm going to say Toy Story as well.
Yeah.
Michelle?
Toy Story.
Toy Story?
Okay.
I love Toy Story.
Okay. Next one. I'll go first on this one. The next one is, these are really classic ones. Dumbo and Peter Pan.
Oh.
I think I'm going to go with Peter Pan because I think it can always, I think that it's just willful suspension of disbelief that I really love. And I think as a young boy, I always loved Peter Pan. And I think I'd love to see Peter Pan come back and have another adventure. So I'm going to say Peter Pan. Michelle?
Well, if you look at Peter Pan, you have Captain Hook, Mr. Smee, the Lost Boys. I mean, there's just so many cool characters. For me, it has to be Peter Pan.
Chris?
I think you're forgetting there was a sequel to Peter Pan.
Return to Neverland?
No, Hook.
Oh, Hook. I guess. Yeah.
I know.
Hook, as in Dustin Hoffman Hook?
Yeah.
As in Robin Williams?
Yeah. I know a lot of people didn't like. I liked it. I don't know.
I love that movie.
Yeah. Some
That was
people complained
awesome.
about
Robin
it, but,
Williams.
Wait, what was the other one? It was Peter Pan or
And Dumbo.
I don't know where else Dumbo could go as a story person.
That's the thought process that you go through.
Yeah. Like I think there's multiple. I mean, you could always do the sequel to Dumbo's, but Dumbo in some weird fashion. Maybe they could do it without the racist crows.
Yeah.
But I think I would go with Peter Pan as well.
Okay.
It did pop into my mind too.
All right. The next one is a classic and sort of a relatively new one. Pinocchio versus Nightmare Before Christmas. Let's go with Chris first on this one.
Oh dear. Wow. Pinocchio was the first movie I ever saw in a theater. Not the first run. That was for you, Michael. But oh geez, Pinocchio. Wait, what was the other one? Pinocchio or
Nightmare Before Christmas?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's sort of a perfect movie too. Yeah, oh God, that one's a tough one for me. I'm gonna swerve left when I thought I was gonna swerve right. I think I'm gonna go with Pinocchio. I think Jiminy Cricket and the travails of a newly formed boy trying to figure out life as a human. Might be an interesting story. So I'm going to go that way. Michelle?
I think I've got Nightmare Before Christmas fatigue. I've seen it many, many, many times. I'd love to see them try something different with Pinocchio. So Pinocchio would be my choice.
I'm going to make it unanimous. I would like to see, I think Pinocchio needs a girlfriend. So maybe in the sequel, he searches for a girlfriend. I don't know.
There's a piece of wood next door. It's a log.
So, okay. So the next one, I have to apologize to Michelle, and she'll understand when I tell her she's going to go first on this one.
Yeah.
This just happened the random generator happened to put this together. It's Moana versus Monsters, Inc.
Wow. You know my favorite Pixar movie is, right?
Yep.
So it's got to be Monsters, Inc. for me.
Okay.
Even though there already was a sequel. I love Monsters, Inc.
You go, Michael.
You know, I'm going to say Monsters, Inc. too, because I really think that those characters are really ingrained in a lot of Disney fans, and they would see 100 sequels of Monsters, Inc.
But Moana's awesome too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Chris?
I mean, look, I couldn't even finish Monsters University. Did you guys watch it? And?
Yes.
You thought it was good?
Not as good as Monsters, Inc.
You know who you're talking to,
No.
Chris?
I know. I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, a lot of these movies are the brainchild of a director or somebody in charge. And Pete Docter has the best Pixar movies in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, and so I tend to lean towards him. If Pete Docter were doing the Monsters Incorporated sequel, that's the one I'm in for. I think I'd probably be in for it anyway, but I would prefer to see him in the director's chair.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Okay. So the next one, and we'll go to, I'll go first on this one. It's Lilo and Stitch versus Coco.
Oh.
And full disclosure, I've never been a Lilo and Stitch fan, so I'm going to go with Coco. I just think that movie is very much underrated. I think that it says a lot, and I think it can say a lot more. So I'm going to say Coco, and I'm going to go to Chris next.
So in a similar fashion to earlier, Lilo and Stitch was my son's first movie in the theater. I love that movie. I love Chris Sanders, who wrote it, directed it, voiced Stitch. I love that movie. I can definitely see how there could be multiple Coco sequels. And I know there's a lot of crappy Lilo and Stitch sequels, but I think done right, I would like to see a Lilo and Stitch sequel.
Okay, looks like tiebreaker goes to Michelle.
It was Liam's first movie too. I love Coco. I think it just was amazing. But I think I'm going to have to go with Lilo and Stitch. I do think there's some crappy, as Chris said, some crappy sequels, but I think if it was done right, it would be really, really cool. I think it's very creative, and I think that's the one I'd love to see.
Okay. Moving on, we have two more to go in the first round. It's going to be Lilo and Stitch for that, Lilo and Stitch Coco. This is a funny combination, but this is the way it popped up. So it's Zootopia. Chris, you'll go first on this. Zootopia versus Finding Nemo sequel. I know we had Finding Dory, but another Nemo sequel versus a Zootopia sequel. What would you go with?
Yeah, I'm Zootopia.
Wasn't there a Zootopia? Was there a Zootopia sequel?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
No, there's no Zootopia sequel. Not yet, anyway.
Okay.
But I'm in for it. I like that.
So you said Zootopia.
Yep.
Okay.
Michelle, you're next. Because you went last time. Yeah.
I would have to. Yeah, I would have to disagree with that. I was not huge. It was okay, but it didn't rock my world. So, what was the other choice? Oh my God. What was the other choice other than Zootopia? Finding Nemo, yes.
Finding Nemo.
I love Finding Nemo. Yes, I'd love to see another one of Finding Nemo. Love all the characters.
I think this is a case where you've got two films with different types of characters, and I think the Nemo film has more. I don't know. I think people are more connected with the characters in the Finding Nemo film, so I'm going to go with Finding Nemo as well.
I'm surprised because I know you really like Zootopia.
Yeah, but Nemo has some good stuff too. This last one is going to be interesting. It's a tough one for me. I'm going to go first. Well, wait a minute. No, Michelle, you go first on this one.
Okay.
Bambi versus Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I'm trying to think where else Bambi could go.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You think of what kind of a storyline,
Yeah, I guess I would go with Beauty and the Beast for this one. I could see more potential for adventures with the Beast and Belle and LeFou and Gaston.
This is interesting because I want to turn it to Chris because as a writer, you think about what would be the sequel for either one, and that sort of helps you make up your mind. So, what would you say, Beauty and the Beast or Bambi?
I know that's the funny part. Is like that's exactly what I was thinking. So Bambi ends with basically he goes off with his father. It would almost probably be like a Lion King sequel. It's like now he's the father at some point, and his young buck or young doe has a problem. And then Beauty and the Beast. I mean, it's the problem with those movies. It's like, and they lived happily ever after is sort of the finish, right? They find true love, and anything after becomes disappointing, unless they have a child and the child comes out with like tusks and animal.
Or you put together a prequel instead of a sequel. I don't know.
Yeah,
that kind of sounds like another film series.
For the sake of something different.
You saying Bambi?
I'm saying Bambi.
I'm going to say Beauty and the Beast only because I can think of some storylines. I can think of more storylines for Beauty and the Beast than I can for Bambi. All right, moving right along. Let's go to round two. Round two, Snow White versus Toy Story. Michelle?
Toy Story.
Toy Story. I'll go second. I'm going to say Toy Story. Chris?
Wait, what is it, Toy Story or?
Snow White.
Snow White? Toy Story.
Okay, here, the next one. Two classic films. Do we want a sequel from Peter Pan or from Pinocchio? Ooh.
Chris is next, I think.
Chris?
Peter Pan.
Michelle? Boy,
Peter Pan. I want to see Captain Hook.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Peter Pan. All right. Here we go. Michelle, you go first on this one, and you're not going to
I think it's you, Mike. You go.
Is it me?
You go first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's Monsters, Inc. versus Lilo and Stitch, and I'm going to go with Monsters, Inc. Michelle?
Monsters, Inc.
Chris?
Lilo and Stitch. Just
like it makes a difference. Okay.
I know it doesn't make a difference, but hey.
Okay.
It is recorded. You like Lilo and Stitch.
This for the ages.
And the last matchup in the quarterfinals, Finding Nemo versus Beauty and the Beast. Whoa, that's a tough one.
It's me. Huh? I'm going to go with Finding Nemo. Christopher?
Me? Nemo, Beauty and the Beast. All right, I might have to go to Nemo.
I think I'm torn. I think I would have still gone with Beauty and the Beast, but Finding Nemo. All right, we have semis now. First semifinal, Toy Story versus Peter Pan. I'll go first, and I'm going to say Toy Story. Michelle?
Gosh. I'm going to go with Peter Pan. The a swerve, Mike. It's a swerve.
A swerve. It's a swerve.
I'm swerving with you, Michelle. Peter Pan it is.
Peter Pan. Wow. 1953 that was made.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other semifinal, Monsters, Inc. and Finding Nemo. Chris, you're first on this one.
Monsters, Inc.
I'm going to say Monsters, Inc. too. And Michelle?
Make it 3. Make it 3.
Okay. So here we go. We're going to pick the next movie that's going to come up with a sequel in the Disney film legacy. And it's going to be between Monsters, Inc. and Peter Pan. So, ladies first, Michelle.
I got to go with Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc.
Love Monsters, Inc.
I'll go second. I'm going to second that. Monsters, Inc. Chris?
Make it 3.
Make it 3. Monsters,
Really?
Inc.
I thought you were going to go with Peter Pan.
I
Now I want to watch Monsters, Inc.
But I mean, and so this is an interesting exercise because it tells us which movie we think has legs, which movie has the ability to contain our contain our interest, and no matter how many sequences it's made. So I think that it says a lot for Monsters, Inc. So
I mean, I just went to the post office today, and I wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you came up on the song.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like Billy Crystal and John Goodman. It was awesome. Just driving to the post office was very, very funny and entertaining.
So before we end this episode, I wanted to just share with the two of you how I thought of another bracket show that we can do down the road. Tell me if you would like to do a bracket show where we take the animated films and we decide which of the animated films should be a live action film.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we'll do that in the future.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for
good.
indulging me. Yeah.
No, that's a good.
Yeah.
I love
So
these
now that
things.
we're into like 3 hours and 27-minute show.
But yeah, I would suggest that you guys in the comments below tell us what you think about our decision making process and where you think we turned wrong. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for this episode. We hope you've enjoyed. If you have a comment or suggestion, head down below as well. Let us know what you're thinking. Also, we want to start doing some live shows, and we'd like to have more subscribers because in order to do that, we need 1,000 subscribers. So please tell your friends about the show, have them sign up so that we can all have a live show at some point. So be sure to hit the like and the subscribe. And then on behalf of Michelle Scribner-McLean, Mike Scopa, and me, we'll see you on the road, my friends.